Philadelphia last week. He is kind of spotty. He will drop some big passes, and he'll drop the easy ones, but he'll go over the top and make a huge play. But Tyler Lockett is reliable. We'll see.
Yeah, when you were saying the stuff about legacy, about Aaron Rodgers, I think you could very much say the same thing. If we're talking the arch of their career, you could say very much the same thing about Russell Wilson, too. I mean, Russell Wilson led them to a Super Bowl victory. He was the one that threw the interception on the goal line, right? So, that speaks to his that's a game that they could have won there. That would have been Russell Wilson, 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's not back-to-back, right? Which is, incredibly tough to do. So, that's kind of a little bit of a knock on him. Obviously, Russell Wilson, fantastic quarterback. Not trying to say anything otherwise. But if we're talking all-time legacy-type stuff, listen to how some of these pundits talk about Drew Brees, that you can't put him in the upper echelon because he only won once. They've been talking a lot of the same kind of trash about Rodgers, right? The kind of all the things that you were alluding to there. He had the injury problems, he had the coaching problem with McCarthy, but he only won once as well. And when we're talking those legacy-defining moments, this is great for both of these guys. I could really see, probably not winning the Super Bowl because I think your Super Bowl winner comes out of the AFC this year, but ultimately, pushing to that game again. Russell Wilson getting there again, Aaron Rodgers getting there again. It's going to be a cool game. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. It should be very good. I expect the Packers to cover that spread.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with a score. Give me a score of like 20, let's go 26-16.
Tough one to call, right?
Yeah,
it really is. I could see this game going so many different ways. I really could. If you told me, if I fell asleep for the entire weekend, I woke up on Monday and you told me the Packers won like 10-3, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And if you told me the Seahawks won, 35-33, I don't think I'd be that shocked either. Exactly. It's an interesting game. I really don't know how to call it, but I just think the Packers pull it out, especially at home.
Oh, yeah. One more thing. I had this stat line I wanted to mention. I had it up on my phone and forgot to mention it. This is about the Ravens-Titans game.
Okay.
That is a primetime game at night, 8:15. Okay. Lamar Jackson plays his best in prime time. All right. You want to hear a stat line real quick?
Yes, I do.
All right. So there's 3 primetime games that the Ravens played this season.
All right. Lay it on me.
Okay. In those games, Lamar Jackson is 3-0. He has a 71.2% completion percentage. He has averaged 181 yards throwing, 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, 81 yards rushing, and 2 rushing touchdowns.
So he's never thrown a pick in primetime?
He is the complete opposite of Kirk Cousins.
Never thrown a pick. Never. You just jinxed the shit out of him, though, right? Never thrown a pick. That's what they say. That's what happens.
Hey.
Will Lutz hasn't missed a field goal since 1942, and then he comes out there and shanks one. You just jinxed the shit out of your boy right there.
You can't jinx somebody that's unjinxable.
Oh, he's unjinxable?
He's unjinxable.
You know this from the whole season and a half that you watched him?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay. I'm with you. I love him. That's my guy. I love him, man.
The MVP.
He is the MVP for sure. I think he put that was one of the things that I was most disappointed about from our last conversation when I was on. We talked a little bit about the MVP race and where it was at back then. And I said some numbskull stuff like Dak Prescott might enter his way into the MVP conversation.
I think you jinxed him.
That's what reminded me of this. I 100% did. 100%. He was not the same. I probably cost this dude $35 million just with my bold prediction that he was going to jump up into the MVP race, and he went completely backwards from there. But no, Lamar is your MVP. There's no doubt about it this year. Just the numbers that he put up, the player that he was, the electricity that he brought to the team, led them to the best record. The guy's unreal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him play years on years on years and seeing how he develops more. Because this is only the surface. Like, this is his second year in the league. He's 23 years old. People are like, this shit is crazy.
Yeah.
This is scary.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing I wanted to get your opinion on. Did you see the rules about the XFL coming?
Yeah, the XFL rules came out. There's some weird stuff with some like 3-point conversions and some things. And
yeah, so I got them up. So here's a couple of them.
Let's hear them.
It says that punt/kick rules that encourage returns. All right. No extra point field goals. Options for a 1, 2, or 3-point try. And I'm assuming, like, depending on the yardage, how much far you got to go is how you'll get that points. Fewer timeouts. Okay, so I guess maybe 2 timeouts instead of 3. 1 foot inbounds catches. Okay.
So like college?
Right.
Okay.
All right. It says dedicated ball spotting ref. So I guess it's got a ref strictly just watching the ball.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it is cool. And if it's not on the field, it's going to be in the sky. It's one of the I forget, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that a lot. NFL might need to adopt that. And then shootout overtime from the 5-yard line, so college like. And then 2-4 passes behind the line of scrimmage. So that could be very interesting.
And the one other thing, too, that I don't think that you mentioned there was that it's going to be a faster play clock as well. Because that's faster play clock. Yeah, so instead of going, whatever it is, 40 seconds in the NFL, they're talking it's going to be much faster. So you're going to see a lot more no huddle and stuff like that so that you can get all that same football, and run as many plays, if not more. But because they said that they were the interview that I saw was with, it's, by the way, Andrew Luck's father. Did you know that? Andrew Luck's father is like I don't think he's maybe not the commissioner, but might be. Here, I'm talking off the cuff here. I wasn't, really all that learned on it, but Andrew Luck is in some kind of an important position with the XFL. You've got the owner and operator, Vince McMahon, but then Andrew Luck's dad is the one who is putting all this together, putting the rules all together and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But he said that the biggest thing that the fans were saying that they didn't like about the NFL was the pace of play. So it's like, yeah, you have an exciting play, big play, and then you kind of take 30 seconds off while they get in the huddle and get the coach. And so the XFL wants to be more exciting, and they want to push the action. And they say that'll lead to more points, and they say that'll lead to less downtime during the game. So kind of cool rules, man. I like to see some innovative stuff. I always think about different things, like how overtime could be better in the NFL. A lot of people didn't like that. Drew Brees never got a chance to touch the ball in overtime. Why don't they get a chance to come back and score also? I think it's better than what it was in the past, right? Where you go down and kick a field goal, the game's over.
Right.
I like this system better. You got to hold the team from scoring a touchdown. I get it. I like that. But throwing some new rules in the mix, maybe if not all of them are good, maybe something good comes from it, and the NFL can adopt it or something. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested. I'm gonna tune in. I'll watch a couple of games.
And they seem to really have a focus on being fan friendly, right? So I mean, they always call the National Football League, the NFL, the no fun league,
right? Which
I think they've tried to roll back a little bit by allowing the choreographed celebrations and that kind of stuff,
right.
But should be fun to watch. The thing that worries me about the XFL is I think just the caliber of football is just going to be lighter than it is in the NFL. So, do you recall the old XFL? Did you ever watch any of it? Or
I
any
do.
Of that?
I remember it was more of like just another version of WWE than it was football.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. And then the AAFL. Did you watch any of that?
I did. I remember that hit. That hit was beautiful.
That was real.
I was like, oh, you won't see that in the NFL.
No, that was real. But yeah, man, it's just the players aren't as good there, of course, right? So you get a little bit lesser quality product, but they're going to have to do some gimmicky stuff. I think that's really neat. A team could be down 18-0 and still a 2-score game, right? Because they can get a touchdown and a 3-point convert. I think that's pretty cool. They might be doing some stuff that's innovative. So
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see if it sticks, and we'll see if they can continue forward, because a lot of these leagues, like the USFL back in the day, and then the XFL, and then the AFFL, and all these FLs and shit like that, they usually just have like a season and then a falter.
Right.
So it'd be nice to have like another sustainable league. Like, you remember fucking NFL Europe? You remember that?
Oh
shit?
Yeah.
I remember watching that.
I think Lawrence Phillips was a star over there, if I'm not mistaken.
Kurt Warner came over. From
he did.
Yeah, you had a fucking NFL MVP over there.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So it would be dope. It would be, and I think it gives college players another like people. I don't know what the rules are. Can like kids out of high school go straight there?
Oh, I have no idea how that'd
be interesting.
That's interesting.
If they can go and get paid like like actual salary, and still be able to develop their skills. Or it gives like players that aren't too good to cut it out in the NFL go and develop their skills there, and then maybe make it back, second time around. So
because it is an interesting thing. Like right now, after they get out of, there's always a chance at the CFL or something like that. But the kids get out of college, these guys aren't fully developed by the time they're 21 years old, and that's the entire. They're basing their entire life in the future of football on how they perform in college, right? Their mind might not be right. They might not have fully grown into their body. They might not have learned enough about football to really have made it that far. So to give some of these guys that are super athletic another shot somewhere else other than Canada, I think it's a terrific thing.
Yeah.
So I know you usually like to go with some kind of fun questions like that at the end, but how much time we got? We good on time for a couple minutes? We're good? Yeah. All right, I had a couple fries, some stuff that I wanted to get. Here we go.
That's why
I brought something. I brought something, man. I appreciate that. It's nothing crazy. I really wanted to hear your opinion, truly, on some of the coaching carousel that's been going on now. So there was a couple that I really liked. I think Ron Rivera to the Redskins is amazing for the Redskins, right? I don't know why he would want to take that job necessarily. That roster's kind of scary. I really like the fact that what were a couple of the other hires? We had
you got Joe Judge.
Joe Judge. Now that was the one that
the wide receiver coach from the Patriots becoming the head coach of the New York Football Giants.
That was the one that blew my mind when you have all the resources in the world in New York. That's the one I wanted to hear from you about. And then I like the other. There was Matt Rule that went to the Panthers.
Yeah, former Baylor's Bears coach.
I kind of like that. Say offensive innovator. I think that's pretty cool. That's a cool hire. The one that I wanted to hear from you about, though, was exactly right, like you said, was Joe Judge. What are they doing? I just thought, I was thinking more along the lines of like a Mike McCarthy type hire, right? You can say what you want about him. I think that's great. You put an adult in the room.
Mike McCarthy got hired by the Dallas Cowboys.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you bring that guy in there. That's the other one that was the one that I was trying to think of that I couldn't remember off the top. But I think that's a good hire for them too. That's a good quality established coach. People say it might be too much more of the same, more Jason Garrett-esque lack of innovation on offense, but I think it's a good hire. He's a good, solid, proven coach. You can't hate him for that. I'm just thinking, you look at the Giants, right? Maybe a good pick now, Daniel Jones, right? He kind of balled out a little bit a few games, right? But people are like throwing the remote at the TV after that draft, right? I mean, just freaking out. And now all the resources in the world, with much higher caliber, you would think, coaches that are out there and potentially available, and they go with Joe Judge. Do you know anything about this guy? Who is this guy?
So I did a little bit of research on him. So I believe he's a wide receiver coach of the Patriots this past season. I believe he has some quorums with Alabama under Nick Saban. So he comes from that Belichick Nick Saban tree.
Okay.
And I believe he has some like special teams. I think he's like the special team coordinator or some shit like that for one of these teams. But so he's been around coaching for a while. He's been around excellent coaches for a while. All right. Now, I was watching First Take, and then like Max and Molly and Stephen A. They was just like going in about the Giants hiring because he's a no name guy. He's not a household name. He's not no Mike McCarthy. He's not no Ron Rivera. He's not a fucking.
Even some of the other names that were getting tossed around, like Urban Meyer, they were saying was potentially willing to jump into the pros for a big name, making a big splash. For maybe they thought like the Cowboys or maybe the Giants, a big city,
the Oklahoma coach, what's his name?
The guy that gave some success to. Yes,
I can't remember his name. Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley, thank you. That was another name they were tossing around. Those guys that have had great success in college. Maybe making the leap here, but just a head scratcher, and maybe they know something we don't know, right?
That's my thing about it. I look at it like this. You see, I think what people seen was, they hire a wide receiver coach, and they kind of, why the fuck would you hire a wide receiver coach, especially with a team like Stephen A. mentioned, like that's what we talked about with New England. They had no receivers.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, yeah, but he's been the understudy of Bill Belichick for X amount of years. So we see how well that was for Miami. I think Brian Flores, he's establishing some type of culture down in Miami where he's an understudy of Bill Belichick.
It's just interesting that Belichick coaching tree has never quite been what it's supposed to be, right? I mean, yeah. Brian Flores, all the credit. He had those guys working hard. I think he's a good coach, but so far 5-11. You've had guys like Romeo Crennel that have gone on to be head coaches and been terrible. That whole tree. Yeah. I think the only two that have winning records, right? And I might even be wrong. I think Vrabel might be close, right? Vrabel's in there, and then Bill O'Brien I think has a winning record. But beyond those guys, every other guy that's come out of that coaching tree has been terrible because I think being adjacent to greatness or being adjacent to brilliance doesn't make you brilliant, right? And that's kind of how this felt, and especially coming, the wide receivers coach. They didn't go and tap a offensive coordinator. They didn't go after McDaniels, right? Yeah. They didn't go after the D coordinator, even a linebackers coach. You're a more What if they're the receivers coach? One of the weaknesses of the team. So maybe there's something different about this guy that we don't know. I just